Welcome back to the Quarterly Call. All content is for informational purposes and is not investment advice. Please consult with an investment professional. So Block, Inc.,
Yeah.
formerly Square, right?
Yeah.
We've got some pretty interesting insights from Owen Jennings, head of business over there,
Right.
from the UBS Global Tech and AI Conference, like super recent, just a couple days ago.
Yeah.
I think this is going to be
interesting.
pretty cool, not just like, earnings and stuff.
I think what's so interesting about this is that they're not just trying to be another financial player.
Right.
They're really talking about changing the whole landscape, especially for folks who traditional banking has kind of left behind.
Yeah, like creating this alternative financial universe.
Yeah.
But they're not starting from scratch, right? They've got Square, they've got CashApp.
Oh, give us
How do
a
they make
shot.
these pieces fit together?
As the restructuring comes in. So they moved away from these different silos. CashApp over here, Square over there. And they went to more of a functional structure.
Okay.
So now all the engineers are in one place, the design folks, the business folks,
Makes sense.
all kind of working across the company.
So no more internal competition. It's like, all right, everybody work on this super product.
Exactly. And you can already see it happening with things like CashApp Local,
Yeah.
where they're taking Square's merchant network with all the merchants they work with and combining it with CashApp's user base.
So like you walk into your favorite coffee shop.
Right.
And you pay with CashApp.
And maybe you get loyalty points
Oh, that's cool.
or special deals.
Bringing the online experience into the real world.
Exactly.
But I want to talk about CashApp for a second.
Okay.
Who are they going after? Like, who is their customer?
It seems like they're really focused on a younger, tech-savvy audience. And a lot of their messaging is around reaching people who have been kind of underserved by banks.
Oh.
People who maybe don't have a credit history. Or they've been hit with fees and confusing terms from traditional banks.
Building trust.
Exactly.
More transparent, more accessible.
Right.
But here's the thing. They've got the 4% interest savings account.
Yeah.
Overdraft protection.
Right.
All of a sudden, it's appealing to a much broader audience.
Exactly.
I mean, even Owen said he uses it as his primary bank account.
Yeah, they're going beyond these basic features.
Right.
Really starting to rival and even surpass traditional banks in a lot of ways.
And they are not slowing down in terms of new products.
No.
I mean, live phone support.
Yeah.
Overdraft protection,
God.
high-yield savings account.
In just the last 18 months.
It's crazy. It's like they want to be the one-stop shop.
It seems like they're building toward that, like a full financial ecosystem within CashApp.
Right.
And they even hinted at more stuff to come, especially features that'll help people build and manage their credit.
Which makes sense if they're trying to replace your bank account.
Exactly.
You got to have the same tools and services. And this credit stuff is where it gets really interesting.
Yeah.
Because it's not just, doing the old stuff in a new way.
It's like they're reinventing it.
Okay, I'm hooked. Tell me about this credit reinvention.
Well, the buy now, pay later integrated into the CashApp card.
Yeah.
This is not your parents' credit card
Yeah.
with confusing fees and debt spirals.
Yeah, younger generations are like, nah, I don't want that.
Exactly.
Not happen.
They want transparency. They want flexibility.
Right.
So Block is saying, okay, use your CashApp card for everyday purchases. And then you can choose to pay later.
Okay.
No crazy interest rates, no revolving debt.
But isn't that risky for Block? How do they know people are going to pay them back?
That's where the data comes in. They have all this information about their users, spending habits, income.
They know everything.
So they can make smarter lending decisions. They can assess risk in a way that a traditional bank just can't.
Okay, so it's personalized credit, but for people who've been excluded.
This could change everything.
Potentially, yeah.
All right, we've talked a lot about CashApp.
Yeah.
But what about Square? What's their strategy? Still all about those point-of-sale systems.
Absolutely. Main goal right now, accelerate growth.
Okay.
Especially in the U.S.
Got it.
And they're doing it in two ways.
Yeah.
Focusing on existing merchants.
Keep them happy.
Yeah. What they call same-store growth.
So make sure they're using all the products, spending more.
Exactly.
Okay.
Investing in better customer support, especially for the bigger merchants.
Smart.
Dedicated account managers, personalized service.
Makes sense.
But they're also trying to bring in new businesses.
Right.
Ramping up marketing spend, scaling sales teams.
Okay.
And get this, they're adding a field sales force.
What? Like door-to-door salespeople?
Yeah.
Really? In this day and age?
I know, right?
Okay, so it's old school hustle
Mm-hmm.
combined with, like, strategic
They're
partnerships.
not afraid to try a new thing.
They're going for it.
Now, one thing I've noticed both with Cash App and Square is the focus on lending.
Yeah.
It seems pretty central to their strategy.
It's not just a side hustle for them.
So it's not just about making money. It's about making both Cash App and Square more valuable.
Exactly. Because if you give people loans,
Right.
they become more engaged.
They're stickier.
They stick around longer.
They spend more money.
Everybody wins.
Okay, I get it. Lending is key to the vision.
Yeah.
But they're taking a different approach with Square Capital
Right.
versus Cash App Borrow and Afterpay.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, you've picked up on that. So they're keeping the shorter term loans like Cash App Borrow and the loans through Afterpay on their own books. They like the returns, gives them more flexibility.
Right.
But the Square Capital loans, the bigger, longer term ones to businesses,
Yeah.
they've been selling those off.
Interesting. So they're managing their balance sheet very strategically.
They are.
But why hold on to those shorter-term loans?
I think maybe they see more growth potential there. Maybe they want to control the customer experience more, especially with Cash App Borrow.
Right.
That's really important to them.
Okay, so we've got Block's new structure,
Yeah.
Cash App evolving,
Mm-hmm.
Square's growth strategy,
Right.
and this lending piece
Yeah.
becoming really important.
Yeah.
They're playing the long game.
They are. It's not about the quarterly earnings. It's about building this sustainable business.
Right.
Like they're building a whole financial system from the ground up.
And they're spending a lot of money to get there.
They are.
But they keep talking about, like, financial discipline, operational leverage.
Uh-huh.
How do they balance those two things?
Well, they're trying to be more efficient,
Okay.
streamlining operations, getting better deals with vendors.
So, like, doing more with less.
Exactly. And it seems to be working.
Okay.
They're confident they can keep that leverage even as they spend more on growth.
Now, investors, they always look at this thing called payback period. Basically, how long does it take for an investment to make money?
Yeah.
What does that look like for Block?
Well, for Square, they're seeing some of their best returns in years.
Really?
Yeah, from their marketing investments.
Wow.
Payback periods in the 5-7 quarter range.
That's impressive. But what about Cash App? They're spending a ton to get new users.
Right, and it's a little trickier there because the user journey is more complex. They're
Right.
not just looking for a one-time transaction.
Yeah.
It's about building that long-term relationship.
Okay.
So they're looking at metrics like user engagement,
Uh-huh.
direct deposit adoption,
Got it.
Cash App card usage,
So it's about moving those users along the path.
to becoming highly engaged, loyal customers.
But that takes time.
It does, but they're using sophisticated marketing techniques to try to speed things up.
Okay.
Lifecycle marketing, referrals, performance marketing.
It's a whole machine.
It is.
Wow, they're pulling out all the stops.
They are.
It's going to be interesting to see how it all unfolds.
It will. It's kind of inspiring to see a company like this, not just chasing profits,
Yeah.
but trying to make a real difference in the world of finance.
Totally.
And it's not just talk either.
Right.
They're actually doing stuff like focusing on those underbanked folks, making sure financial products are fair and transparent.
Yeah.
You don't see that every day.
Especially in finance.
Exactly.
It's like they're leveling the playing field,
Yeah.
creating opportunities for people who've been shut out.
Right. And you know what? That commitment to financial inclusion,
Yeah.
that could be huge for their growth.
How so?
Think about it. As more people get access to financial services, Block is right there, ready to serve them.
It's like they're baking a whole new pie.
Exactly. Not just fighting for a bigger slice.
Right.
They're making the pie bigger for everyone.
That's a whole new market.
Yeah. And that brings us back to their vision.
Okay.
It's not about tweaking the current system.
Right.
It's about something much bigger, more transformative.
A new financial future.
Exactly. One that works for everyone, no matter who you are.
And if they can do it,
Yeah.
that changes everything.
It could. It really could.
But let's be real. There are going to be some bumps in the road.
Oh, for sure.
What are some things that could trip them up?
Well, first of all, finance is competitive.
Yeah.
You've got the big banks, the fintech startups.
Right. It's a jungle out there.
Exactly. So Block can't afford to get comfortable.
They got to keep innovating.
Exactly.
Crossing boundaries.
On the tech side, product development, marketing, even their own structure.
Stay agile.
Right. Always adapting.
And they're pushing hard on growth, especially with Square.
Yeah.
But isn't there a risk of growing too fast?
Absolutely. Things can break.
Right.
You stretch your resources too thin, maybe even the company culture starts to suffer.
Got it.
Got to find that balance between growth and stability.
And then there's the whole regulatory landscape.
Oh, yeah.
Fintech is new. The rules are still being written.
It's a moving target.
How do they navigate that?
It's tough because they're in a highly regulated industry
Right.
and the rules can change quickly.
Yeah.
So they got to stay informed, be ready to adapt.
And lending is a big one there.
Huge.
With all those loans, managing risk is crucial.
Absolutely. Especially with the economy being a bit uncertain these days.
Yeah, you don't want to get burned.
Right. So they need to lend responsibly, make sure their underwriting is solid.
So expanding access to credit,
Yeah.
but not taking on too much risk.
It's a tightrope walk for sure.
Okay, so we talked about some of the challenges,
Yeah.
but what about the exciting stuff?
Right.
The opportunities.
The stuff that could really make them explode.
Exactly. What are those?
Well, going global is a big one.
International expansion.
Right now, it's mostly the U.S.,
Uh-huh.
but there's a whole world out there.
So many people who need these services
Exactly. They could really fulfill that mission of financial inclusion.
on a global scale.
They've already started with Afterpay in Australia.
Yeah, that's a good test case.
Right.
And speaking of Afterpay,
Yeah.
that integration with CashApp is really interesting.
Oh, yeah. It's a powerful combination.
CashApp's users
Millions of them.
with Afterpay's buy now, pay later.
It's like a perfect match.
It's like banking meets BNPL.
Right. A whole new category.
That could be huge.
Access to credit right there in your banking app.
Seamless.
And don't forget about CashApp Local.
Oh, yeah. That's a good one.
Connecting those local businesses with CashApp users.
Yeah,
Building that community.
I love that.
It's a win-win for everybody.
And Block, with their focus on financial inclusion,
Right.
they're in a great spot to help those who need it most.
Small businesses, minority-owned businesses.
People who've been shut out.
Exactly. So it's not just about making money.
It's about making a difference.
Using their platform for good.
And that could really set them apart.
It could, yeah.
Okay, challenges, opportunities.
Right.
What should we be watching for? What are the signs that they're on the right track?
From a financial standpoint, keep an eye on their U.S. gross payment volume,
Okay.
both for Square and CashApp.
That's their core business?
It is. They need to keep growing there.
Got it.
And those payback periods, are they staying strong?
Even with all the spending.
Exactly. That shows they're investing wisely.
Disciplined growth.
Right. And what about user engagement on CashApp?
Are those direct deposit users sticking around?
That's key. The more they have, the stronger their platform becomes.
It's a flywheel.
Right. More users, more growth.
And innovation. New products, new features.
Got to stay ahead of the curve.
Can't stand still.
And then, of course, the regulatory stuff.
Always lurking.
Can they stay nimble, stay compliant?
Lots of balls in the air.
They've got their work cut out for them.
But they seem up to the challenge.
They do.
So, lots to watch as Block moves forward.
Yeah,
But one thing's clear. They've got a big vision.
they do.
And they're not afraid to go for it.
It's going to be an interesting ride.
I'm definitely along for the ride.
Me too.
You know, it's kind of cool to see a company like Block not just focus on the bottom line,
Yeah.
but really trying to make a positive impact.
Yeah, I agree. And they're putting their money where their mouth is.
Right.
Reaching out to the underbanked, making sure those products are fair, transparent. That's not something you see every day.
Especially in finance, right? It's all about profits.
Exactly.
But Block is like, no, we can do well and do good.
Yeah, and that focus on inclusion, that could be a huge advantage for them in the long run.
How so?
Well, think about it. As more people get access to financial services,
Okay.
Block is right there to meet that demand.
It's like they're creating a whole new market.
Exactly. They're not just competing for a slice of the existing pie. They're baking a bigger pie.
That's a good analogy.
Thanks.
And it all goes back to their vision, right?
Yeah.
They're not just tinkering with the old system.
Right.
They want something totally new.
A new financial future. One that actually works for everyone.
And that's a powerful idea.
It is.
But it's not going to be easy.
No, there'll be challenges.
What are some things to watch out for?
Well, the competition is fierce.
Right, we talked about that.
Big banks, fintech startups, everybody wants a piece of this pie.
So Block has to stay sharp.
They got to keep innovating, keep pushing the boundaries.
And growing, but not too fast.
Right, got to find that sweet spot.
And then there's the whole regulatory maze.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
The rules are constantly changing.
It's like trying to hit a moving target.
So they got to be agile, adaptable.
Absolutely.
It's a lot to handle.
It is, but they seem up to the task.
Okay, so challenges, opportunities.
Right.
What are the key things for investors to track?
Well, first and foremost, their U.S. gross payment volume,
Okay.
both for Square and CashApp, that's got to keep growing.
That's the core business.
Yeah, the bread and butter.
Makes sense. What about those payback periods?
Yeah, are they staying strong? Can they keep those returns high?
Even as they invest more.
Exactly. That's a sign of disciplined growth.
And user engagement, especially on Cash App.
Right. Are those direct deposit users sticking around?
Are they becoming those highly engaged, loyal customers?
That's what they need.
It's like a snowball effect.
Yeah. The more engaged users they have, the faster they grow.
And of course, innovation.
Can't forget about that.
New products, new features. Got to stay ahead of the game.
Exactly. Can't stand still in this business.
So lots to keep an eye on with Block.
Yeah.
They're a company on a mission.
And it's going to be fascinating to see where it takes them.
Absolutely. Thanks for breaking it all down for us.
My pleasure. Always happy to chat about companies that are shaking things up.
Well, folks, we've covered a lot of ground today. Block's vision, their strategy, the challenges, the opportunities. It's a company with a lot going on.
Definitely one to watch.
I'm excited to see what they do next.
Me too.
Thank you so much for tuning in to the Quarterly Call. For more episodes, please remember to rate and follow our show. Until next time, stay curious and stay informed.